Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup. These are recorded live Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, we were off last week from camp, and we were off the week before because the internet sucked where I was at. So we will be back, of course, this week. We will be back next week. The week after, I'm going back to camp. I should, hopefully, cross my fingers, I hopefully will have time to actually put together a weekly news roundup, which will be pre-recorded because there is no such thing as internet out there, other than what we can get in our lodge. Not the best internet, but at least I can do a show on it. Can't live stream, but I can upload a video. So we will look into that. And but again, no promises. Like I said, for the last couple weeks at camp, I thought I'd get a little bit more time to do things. Did not get to. It was crazy. But anyway, let's go ahead and get on into the news as I recover, maybe. First up in privacy news, if you remember this AI Rabbit R1 crap that was supposed to be this amazing AI thing that people bought, and like, this is a piece of garbage. So people go to sell it, and they found out that it was collecting a whole bunch of user data that could not be deleted. So if you wanted to try and delete the thing out and sell it off to the next sucker who might want to buy this bad boy, then they could potentially jailbreak it and gain access to every bit of data it has in there. And it like stored everything about you, about the questions you asked it, all those fun, naughty things you might have said to the rabbit as you chased it down the hole of craziness. So they have actually issued a software release. If you do have one of these and you're thinking about getting rid of it, they are pushing out a new update that's just going to have a factory reset option that will remove, allegedly will remove, all of that old data, and they have committed to collecting less data and storing less data over time on the device itself. Of course, that just means they're going to be collecting it on their servers, most likely. So that is certainly an interesting thing as we discuss the technology and the various things going on with the technology. We have to remember the downsides of it. Don't just jump in and embrace the brand new technology because, look, new tech. Think about how poorly it can be used as well. Henry David Thoreau was right. Our improved technology gives us an improved means to reach our own deteriorating ends. And next up, this was a fascinating article. Gen Z breakups are tainted by login abuse for spying and stalking, research shows. Who would know it? If you get a whole lot of young people who are so fickle with their partners that they trade their partners like they change their underwear, some of them more than others. And now we are in this tech world where everyone is addicted to all of this stuff and has tons of accounts and shares devices. And of course, you must share your logins with everybody so that you can trust each other. Now, there's places you need to do that. I did boot out an article about some information was released. I think it was MSpy or something. One of the like parental things, and the Malwarebytes, I think, was the article that was from, the same as this one. Where they're like, you can't be spying on your children, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, the parents is the one place where you should have this because the internet has serious consequences. You know, your kid shouldn't even have a cell phone at all. Okay. They shouldn't until they're like maybe 16. You start moving them on into a dumb phone or something. But what happens here is that Gen Z is constantly trading partners, and then they're all constantly also trading accounts and logins and things like that. Now, I think that the main access to the phone is something some people keep more secretive. I mean, you can't let the girl know about the girl on the side or vice versa. But other things people have access to, it might be the common emails or things like that. So I like this article because it made me think a little bit and say maybe we need to start addressing some of this stuff in our modern society. Maybe let's look at the Dave Ramsey approach with your money management. You know, if you're dating, you need to keep all of your money separate. When you are married, you need to keep all of your money together. That is what has been found over a lot of research to generate the most positive outcomes in most positive outcomes in relationships going down the road. Maybe we need to start talking about doing the exact same things in relationships. As long as you're just dating, everybody needs to have their own accounts. We're not sharing accounts and things like that. Very few exceptions to that. Once you are married, I'm sorry, you need to have pure transparency in that relationship. Once you are married, every spouse needs to know their spouse's logins, their passwords, everything, because it keeps you accountable to make sure you're not doing things off the side. But Gen Z, like it does everything completely backwards, they want to jump in here and share too much when they're not ready for a final commitment. And then when it inevitably breaks off, now they don't even know how to re-separate everything. And that is really what the issue is here. They go into research here where it's looking at the various percentages. So it's like 43% of Gen Z and millennials combined compared to 15% of all people older than millennials. They've experienced social media login abuse, financial account login. Like, who's giving their bank account logins to their boyfriends and girlfriends? Now, when you're married, absolutely, you should all have access to that stuff. Streaming service login abuse. That might be one of those rare exceptions you might take, whatever. But hey, as soon as you break up, you change those passwords. You can't let that X on there and gain anything from your account. Make them pay their fair share. Dump me, will you? No. But that is an interesting thing. Now, one of the factors about their logins that we actually covered in one of our science fiction short stories, if you're not a supporter, we covered this one a while back, looking at some of the stalking stuff. It's not just the AirTags you have to worry about. You also have to worry about if you have a direct contact with somebody and you're both using Gmail. It is possible, if they have access to your phone, to set up a device where they can always know where your phone is. Now, that can be useful in a family situation. One of the few good cases of having a kid with a cell phone is you can see where they are. But at the same time, there's probably better ways of doing that without relying on a giant company in the middle of all of that. But in this case here, because of this lack of knowing when and where to share what with your spouses and significant others and boyfriends and girlfriends and, hey, one-night flings even, too many people are getting open to a lot of abuse from serious accounts and sharing their login data. So maybe it's about time we start having this conversation about when to share logins and take that Dave Ramsey money approach. If you're not married, you're just dating, everything stays separate. And if you are married, everything is combined. That might be the best way to do it. Treat it just like money, But with that, let's have a look over at our security news next. First up, fake Microsoft Teams for Mac delivers the atomic stealer. This is an example of the malvertising, but it's an example of one where it is a Mac application instead of a Windows application, which these have been Windows. And it is for, of course, a very common Microsoft product. And if you don't have Teams, and says that you need Teams, you go to the good old Google, which I wouldn't recommend you do. Then you type this guy in. You might very well get the top advertising over here for Microsoft.com, Microsoft Teams. This is a malicious ad. What is the error there? I mean, that looks correct. Maybe the link is not, but it just goes to www.microsoft.com. Maybe it's an ASCII character shift. I don't know. But despite it showing the Microsoft.com URL, the ad's display URL is not Microsoft. So if you actually go in, you will land on this Chinese page, which, I don't know, might look like Microsoft after today. I don't know. But what this is going to do is this is going to infect your Mac with this particular cyanide malware stealer. Now, I wanted to include this one because it's funny. I went to, at our writers conference, I went to a cybersecurity panel with a gentleman who does know what he's talking about for the most part. Of course, still relying on things like Authy and Google Authenticator, like I would never rely on at all. And he still would rely on his cell phone for everything for verification. And I think that's about the stupidest thing one can do. But hey, the ideas of having good two-factor authentication and password managers and updating your software and things like that. It's good. Well, this guy's in there and he's like, I use the Mac, I'm safe. Like, no. But I did explain to him that your Mac doesn't have as many things, and the biggest security vulnerabilities right now isn't your operating system as much as your accounts, and most of the accounts we're using are on the browser anyway, so whatever that's worth. But anyway, that's what they're up to. This new ransomware is stopping victims using the latest and greatest technology. Isn't it so wonderful that these companies like, everything needs to use passkeys, they're far more secure? Hackers are like, yeah, they are, aren't they? So ransomware researchers are having a difficult time reverse engineering these things because they started using passkeys instead. Isn't it great how they push passkeys on us, and now the ransomware companies are using passkeys because like, oh, that is much better. Thank you. I can encrypt that poor victim's computer, and there's no password they can try. It's a passkey. Thank you guys for all of these wonderful recommendations to secure our ransomware with passkeys. We're screwed as a society, folks. I hope you understand that. I would start learning right now how to make fire by rubbing a couple sticks together. Maybe how to hunt rabbits by throwing stones at them, because that might very well where we will be very soon. It depends on which person happens to be elected. I don't know. Even then, I don't know if we have any guarantees either. Who knows? But who was it? Was it Einstein, I think? I think it was Einstein who said, I know not what World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Okay, that's the world we're moving to. Thank you for all this wonderful, wonderful technology that is hoisted upon us at all times. And now we'll have a look at a couple data leaks. First and foremost, nearly all AT&T customers had phone records stolen in a data breach. Hey, the good news is they didn't actually get the content of your calls or text messages. They just received every bit of metadata about them. So this one, the biggest saving grace of this is it was a very narrow scope from May 1st, 2022 to October 31st, 2022. As well as on January 2nd, 2023. So basically a company got in there and stole and released information about the metadata. And so with this information here, no payment information or birth dates and nothing of that nature, not even the content of any messages, particularly significant on text messages. The content would be important. But mostly this is just that metadata. I wonder who would want access to all that metadata. I don't know. I can think of a few 3 letters, NSA, CIA, FBI. They might want all that stuff. I don't know. But there's not much you can do if you have AT&T. Sorry. And Rite Aid says a breach exposes sensitive data on 2.2 million customers. What was really hilarious about this article is they say no social security numbers, financial information, or patient information was included in the breach. But it does tell us a little bit further down that it did get your customer. Hold on. It literally is like, oh, it was up here. Rite Aid, the third biggest drugstore chain, said 2.2 million customers have been swept into a data breach that stole personal information, including driver's license numbers, addresses, and dates of birth. Yet no patient information was included? How did someone steal your driver's license number, personal information, addresses, date of birth, but not get your patient information? Can somebody explain that to me like I'm a 3-year-old? Really, I need to know that. Yeah, I need to know that. How does one steal your driver's license number, your addresses, your dates of birth, and your personal information, but not get your patient information? I think someone is lying here. Very fascinating indeed. Anyway, so I think the other saving grace about this one is that it was a very narrow scope. It was only a few states, I think, had data lost. But that's frightening enough, is it not? If you want to help support the channel, we do have affiliates. Say we're highlighting A2 hosting, tlm.li/A2H, if you want to help support the channel over there. So with this, you can get some really good hosting as little as $1.99 a month with up to a 36-month term on that. We have $10 a month if you need more resources, more domain names, more websites, so things like that. Of course, I ran VPS hosting for quite a while for managing a lot of clients. And those are all really good plans for you. So if you do need a web hosting company, consider A2H. I've had good luck with them, and many of my clients have had good luck with them as well. With that, let's head off a look over at our business news next. First up in business news, Google keeps on messing with Fitbit users. Of course, I warned years ago when I first started this channel, I was telling people, listen, Fitbit's plan is to build up a user base and sell it to the highest bidder, and the highest bidder is going to be a health insurance company. Google buys it, collects all that health data to their servers, and yes, Google's parent company, Alphabet, owns a health insurance company. So yes, they can profit from this. Now, the problem is that when they bought it, they started stripping down features. So I think as of early July, the web application, the web user interface stopped working. So you can't access your Fitbit data and account and information on the computer anymore. You have to use the app, which many people had a problem with because there were older people using these that don't want to use the app or can't see the app. You know, I can change default sizes of things on some elements, but not everything. And that was part of the problem. And so with that, they got rid of that. Now they're getting rid of some extra features. Now they're adding things people don't want. And now they're cramming in some AI, and no one's like, I don't want any of this nonsense. So people are getting really frustrated with it, and it's causing a lot of serious backlash. But of course, it's Google, so pretty soon they're just going to take poor Cricket back to the rubble pile back and off him. But in the meantime, people keep on using these things. They keep on giving Google all of this type of information. The reality is, guys, you should not be using a Fitbit if you care in any way, shape, or form about any degree of your health privacy. If you want to do your best to keep that information away from health insurance companies, I'm using a Garmin watch that does not require me to connect it to anything in order to just see the basic data that I need, and that's it. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if you can still buy a Garmin watch like that, because every other one I've ever looked at requires you to, not only do you have to have a phone connected, you have to give Garmin your phone number and your email address. You have to have Bluetooth and location services turned on your phone, or you can't even set the thing up. So most Garmin watches burn them with fire. But I would say that with most Fitbit watches at this point in time as well. So the frustration with them is getting bigger and bigger. Next up, Ladybird is a new browser initiative backed by $1 million. This is a brand new web browser engine, not based on Mozilla, not based on Chromium, completely independent, by GitHub's co-founder and former CEO. And he's launching this with a specific target for Linux and Mac. No interest right now in getting this thing on Windows. He's like, I don't care. Their entire focus is have a independent, privacy-focused web browser that is not based on the Mozilla or the Chromium base. And in here, the argument he makes is, of course, we have WebKit with Apple. Apple is supported mostly by Google. Firefox is supported mostly by Google. So basically, Google controls the web browser industry. If Google decides they don't want Mozilla to exist anymore, they pull their funding from Mozilla at the end of a contract, and Mozilla closes down. And we're down with Chromium and WebKit. And who uses WebKit except Mac? No one. So this is an independent, completely separate from Google. Hopefully it stays that way. And so we'll kind of see what happens with this down the road. I will be watching this closely, and if you don't see me talk about this and you hear that this is out already, let me know. I would love to have a look at it. So that's Ladybird, if you want to keep around. Of course, in the comments, people are like, "That's a really lame name, blah, 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 blah." Like, shut up, dude. It's fine. Ladybird, it's fine. I don't care. Okay. And of course, onto our chief article that I almost forgot. So hopefully this is linked in the show notes. If it's not, you can just look it up. DEI on Windows Central. You can look it up by the title here. Turns out that several companies right now are dropping all this DEI nonsense. They're realizing it was a fad thing that they had to do, or else they would be, people would make mad at them. But the problem is that it leads to very poor performance. I mean, this is what leads to Secret Service agents that are this tall guarding a person who is this tall. Doesn't work. Which is why there were no short people guarding Donald Trump at the RNC. All right. DEI led to that. DEI is a potential theory behind why airplane parts are falling out of the sky. Not entirely, but it has been proposed because these things are lagging behind these policies. DEI is what led to a lot of backlash. Of course, John Deere has just dropped this nonsense as well. You see, here's the problem. We need the best people for the job. If you're the best person for the job, nobody cares. In fact, maybe it's a sign of the times, but when I went to college, the year I started as a freshman, we had our first ever black president, and nobody really cared. But the black president came down with a mandate and said, every one of his students is going to read this one book. Now, if this were a modern day situation, we'd be reading something by like X Kembry or whatever that guy is, I don't know, who basically tells us that everybody with pasty like me is simply the devil incarnate, and everybody who's not is simply a victim. It's Marxism is what it is. There is no way, shape, or form around it. It is Marxism. That's exactly what it's based on. That's what it is, and it doesn't work. What was curious about that book that they made us read, and I would highly recommend you read it now, it was called The Ditch Digger's Daughters. And it was about a black family from the South, and he worked really hard to make sure that his daughters had an education. And part of that was, you're going to do well in school. You're going to be competent. Nowadays, the entire format around DEI is you must hire the person because of their skin color or their protected class or whatever the case happens to be, which is a reversal of the civil rights movement. Hello? What did Martin Luther King Jr. say? I have a dream. And part of his dream was people be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. We have reverted. Okay. The problem is that this has led to people not getting good jobs because they're good at what they do. They're getting good jobs because of things that they can't control. Well, you can control how intelligent you are to a degree. You can control how hard you are at working. What I loved about The Ditch Digger's Daughters is the entire book was about a meritocracy. He wanted all of his daughters to become doctors, and he worked hard to give them the opportunities. Ergo, The Ditch Digger's Daughters was about a meritocracy society. It was following in the dream of Martin Luther King Jr., which was a very good thing, because I don't care. And the says the line so many times over there, the man would always say to his daughters, it doesn't matter if you're a pink and purple polka dotted alien. If you're a doctor and somebody's having a hard time breathing, they want to see you. They don't care what color your skin is. And that is true. That is true. Okay. And that's the thing. I want my doctor to be competent. I don't care what color skin my doctor has. I don't care what type of objects my doctor would like to shove up his parts. I don't care who my doctor goes to bed with. It doesn't matter to me, as long as my doctor is the best doctor. But if we have to bring in a doctor to meet a diversity quota, I'm sorry, I don't want to work with not only that doctor, but any other doctor in that system, because you're not looking at what is important. The problem is that this has led to a lot of companies, not only A, having a lot of backlash, but B, having a lot of poor performance. It's interesting to see. I mean, we just have this big Microsoft snafu. I don't know anything about the person who accidentally pushed the wrong update that crashed the whole system down. But the reality is somebody didn't know what they were doing. Somebody who is really competent isn't going to make that mistake. You know, if I am migrating somebody's website to a different server, we do it in a series of steps so that it is a flawless process. You're not going to lose your emails. Your website's not going to go down. I don't just throw things together half-half. Oh, let's change. Oh, we forgot to do this. Oh, wait, hold on. No. I have a rigorous system that works because I know what I'm doing. I'm competent. I start with what you have. We duplicate what you're doing. We run some test rounds. We migrate one piece of the data server. We let that populate DNS. We migrate the second part of the data server. We let that migrate DNS. We verify the server before we take the old one down, and then we can finally close it down. It's a very rigorous process that works. It's tried, true, and tested, and it is based on my long-time experience of migrating websites and managing servers. Okay, but if you just bring me on because I happen to have darker color skin or pinkish hair, or I happen to like to sleep with another dude or something, and that's the only basis I got the job, you're going to be in for a really hard night when they move things over and they forget steps in the middle because you hired them not based on how good they do, but you hired them based on who they sleep with or what color they are. That's a problem. Because of this, Microsoft and several other companies, all at the same time, John Deere just came out and did this. Of course, nearly every company who has done this has getting backlash. Some of them have been sued over their DEI initiatives because it has harmed the companies. It has led to incompetent work, and it has led to paying out money for people who didn't have any form of real job other than, you know, oh, we need to make sure there's brown people here. Can they do the job? No. The fact of the matter is you can find the brown people to do jobs. You can find the green people to do the jobs. You can find the yellow people to do the jobs. You just got to find the people who are competent. Okay? And I don't care what color they are. Okay? I have a black accountant, and he is a brilliant accountant, okay? And I didn't look at his skin color. I didn't know what color he was for a long time because we dealt entirely over the phone, entirely on a recommendation, and he is an awesome guy, okay? That's the thing. So Microsoft finally looks down and says, you know what? This is not important. It's leading to foul ups. It's leading to issues. It's causing us money. We got to slim things down. We're going to cut the DEI team because Microsoft apparently is going back to a meritocracy. Maybe that's why we had a lot of situations coming down and going, maybe this is why we've had a lot of security blunders. I don't know if it is for sure. I haven't a clue. I do know, though, that if you are populating your company with people based on sexuality preferences or color preferences or anything else, you're not going to have a good result. And that's what we need. We need a meritocracy society. And if you would like to have that job, you go to school, you get the training for the job. And I got news for you. It is not 1890s anymore. You can have the opportunity too. But you got to prove yourself. All right. You got to prove yourself. That is kind of my rant on that. We're definitely not finishing on the time period I wanted to. But anyway, I did want to cover that article because it was fascinating and I had a lot to say. But with that, we are going to end your favorite place and mine. Let's have a look over at SillyVille. Waymo robotaxi pulled over by the Phoenix police after driving the wrong way down a lane. Now, first it was actually driving erratically, and then they went to pull it over, and then it decided to go the wrong way down a one-way road. There is actually a video. We're not going to cover all of the video here. I mute it just in case, but you can see here's the police officer. It's the body cam going. Got the Axion police up here, and he sees the car. Let me see. Here he walks over. Apparently, if the police walk over, it'll roll the thing down and he can chat with the Waymo guys. So here's actually the car. Here, I think, back up just another second here. You can see here the car driving a little erratically. That wasn't the erratic one. Oh, here's the car driving erratically. So there's the car. Here's actually the police cam. You see the car's doing this. This is woo, you know. This is the guy that's kind of saying, get these stupid things off the road. Here's the brave reporter doing her report from inside the car of doom. And then the police officer kind of goes down pulls the car over. Now Waymo's like, hey, the signs were inconsistent. Yeah, that's why you don't have robots driving cars, okay? Because even if the sign is inconsistent, I can still look at the situation and make an instantaneous decision about what I need to do, allegedly. So, you know, I mean, so I don't know. I had to drive through multiple construction areas and detours today. I didn't find myself going the wrong way down a one-way road. Even though none of the roads I went down were properly marked. That's okay. Pennsylvania's incompetent with road work. What can we say? This is immensely disappointing. Nike is killing the app for the $350 self-tying sneakers. Yeah, we had self-tying sneakers. If I'm not mistaken, didn't these kind of roll out with that Back to the Future stuff? Because it was kind of like, woo, you know. Well, you had an app on your phone that could control the LED lights and it self-tied your sneakers. Well, now you can no longer change the LED lights. They're set to whatever the last colors are. The app has stopped working, but you can still tighten or loosen your shoelaces by being an arcane caveman and reaching down and actually touching a button on them to tighten and loosen your shoes. And you can actually turn on the LEDs like that. But I'm sorry, the app for your phone is no longer going to be there to control the LEDs and the tightness of your laces. I'm really sorry that upsets you, but if you actually had these Nike shoes with this app, I would encourage you, please, to go and set an appointment with somebody who can examine if your head is working right. Okay. Why are you buying $350 self-tying shoes that need an app? And now we need to talk about Astronomical Water. Because a new prototype spacesuit will let astronauts recycle their own urine for drinking water. Now, I understand conceptually that, you know, urine is just a solution inside of water. And yes, you can isolate it. You can take that stuff and run it through a reverse osmosis filter and you get 99.8% pure water out. Call me crazy. I just want a little bit more distance between the exit tube and the entrance tube. Okay, that's just kind of what I want in my spacesuit. But basically, they basically pee into the special adult diaper, and the adult diaper pulls all of the stuff into the middle, and then it filters all the stuff out and then runs it through a filtration system, and then it just drips it back into a water tank so you can re-drink your own pee. Isn't that great? It's so wonderful. I so want to be an astronaut now. Maybe I don't. There you go. Yeah. So anyway, at least we're saving a little bit of water, saving a little bit of space. Water's heavy. I admit water's heavy. If you can drink your own pee safely, go for it. I just want a little bit more distance between that. Although, I mean, you got to get esoteric about this. Would you rather drink your own filtered pee or the collective community's filtered pee? There's no good way around this, is there? Just think about that, guys. Every time you just take a good old sip of water, it is your collective community's filtered, cleaned pee, just like the astronauts. Now, not me right now, because I actually get my water right now when I'm in Pennsylvania from a mountain spring. So I'm pretty sure mine is not. I mean, there might be some deer pee in there or something, but venison juice. What can we say? Venison juice. Well, with that, we are going to wrap this up here before I take myself a deeper grave of crazy. If you want to help support the channel, we are over on Locals, switchedtolinux.locals.com. You can join us on over there. Of course, we have our short story series, which we'll resume, I believe, September. I'm going to resume them, and we will hopefully have that book out by the end of the summer as well. With that, guys, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you all next time.